Session 1, Topic 7, Types of SAP Implementation. In this topic, we are going to discuss about what are the different flavors of SAP implementation that are commonly followed. So these are the 5 different types of SAP implementation. First, greenfield implementation. Number 2, brownfield implementation. Number 3, rollout implementation. Number 4, upgrade project, maintenance or support project. We are going to go deep into each of these implementation. Before that, let me tell you why you need to know this, right? If you are someone who is working or who is going to work on an SAP project, the first thing that you need to understand is like what your project does, under what implementation your project falls under. So that's the first thing that you need to understand. The reason you need to understand, you need to have a good understanding on the implementation is because only then you will have an idea on what your scope looks like, right? What's going to be your effort? What are the common challenges that you will face in that implementation? So that's going to be your first thing that you have to know if you're into an SAP project. Now going to the details, right? Let's start with the greenfield implementation. So in greenfield implementation, what happens is like they are trying to implement an SAP project from the scratch. So any company or organization who have been using some legacy system, or they never used an ERP system, right? If they want to move to an SAP platform, that comes under the category of greenfield implementation, starting the implementation from the scratch. So that's the literal meaning. And it's like we are building a house from the scratch. Okay, so what are the challenges? There are advantages as well as disadvantages. I'll talk about only from the performance testing perspective. So from the performance testing perspective, it's going to be easy. The reason being, so this is going to be a very big project, 3 to 4 years of implementation. So they are going to go in a phased manner. So they will first build few features, test it, go live, then they build the second phase, right? You got time to get a full understanding of all the business cases, and maybe at the final phase of the implementation you have to run all those scenarios in whole. But you're starting from the phase 1, or scope will be limited. So that's one advantage. The second advantage is the data, right? Like you don't have to maintain a redundant data, right? Like everything is going to be fresh. So in some ways, this is going to be advantage for you. And some of the other challenges would be like in the optimization, right? Because they are building it from the scratch, so they might make a lot of mistakes. You will have to test that particular feature properly with the required load, and make sure if it breaches this SLA, you need to work with the technical team to optimize it, right? Those kind of engineering challenges you would be facing. But from testing perspective, it's not going to be that big of a deal to begin with. I mean, towards the end of the phase, you will have to do a lot of work, but to begin with, it's going to be easy. One of the other challenge would be like the team will be starting building up, right? So it's important to get the KT, reaching out to the functional team, those kind of challenges. Getting the details might be a little bit challenge, but otherwise, this is going to be a straightforward implementation, and it will be in a phased manner. So now the second implementation is the brownfield implementation. So here the client or the company already has an SAP platform, the lower version of the SAP platform. It could be R3 or ECC, right? From that old version of SAP, they are moving to the latest version. I mean, before it used to be from R3 to ECC, they call it as brownfield implementation. Now a majority of the clients are moving from the ECC to S4. So it's a ECC to S4 brownfield implementation. If you look at the overall scale, right, almost 60% of application multinational companies are still running on ECC or the lower platform. So there's a big scope. Even in my past years of experience, right, I never got an opportunity to work on greenfield. Most of my projects are under brownfield implementation. So it's more like you have the house and you're now renovating the house, right? That's kind of analogy you can keep in your mind. So you have an old ECC SAP version, and from old version to new version you are migrating. So that kind of implementation is called as brownfield implementation. So in this case, the business will run on the ECC until you have everything fully ready. Not everything, like it will be in a phased manner, but still the business will run on the ECC. And again, this implementation will also happen in a phased manner, but little bit faster than the greenfield implementation, because they have all the clearly defined business process, functionalities, right? It's just that it's going to be done on the different version of SAP. Plus there will be a lot of technical changes. It's not easy, but it's not like just a version upgrade. It's definitely not like that. It's both are two different platforms, so there's a lot of technical challenges, effort required in implementing the brownfield implementation, and this can easily take 2 to 3 years. It depends on how complex your business landscape is. And here some of the challenges as a performance tester, what you would face is the data, right? Now you had all this data on the older system, so it's not going to be a clear slate, right? So you need to build the data similar to what you had in EC. So that's data strategy is very important thing. Even in one of our project, we kind of big time messed with the data. So make sure you set up the data properly, the standing data. So that's we'll talk about in detail in the coming chapter. But yeah, data is something that you have to be very careful during the brownfield implementation. And apart from that, yeah, I think it's in every phase there will be a lot of functionalities that will be going in. So the effort of work will be a little bit more compared to the greenfield implementation. And third type of implementation is the rollout implementation. So again, this company might be running on ECC or S4. So what exactly they do is like they try to expand their business to a different geography, right? So in such cases, a lot of taxation codes will be different, the stores network will be different, a lot of things will be different. So they are extending their solution from one geography to the other geography. So this is called as the rollout implementation. And rollout implementation can happen both for ECC as well as S4. So in this case, I think if there is an SAP performance testing team who are already doing testing for that particular region, right, they will have all the details, the functionality, scripts, everything, right? It's just an extension of that what they have already doing. So there's not much effort, but yeah, the reason I say is because it's all already done on the one segment of market, right? It's just kind of copy of that in a different market. But again, you have to build the scripts and all those stuff, but again, you already have done it for one market, so it's going to be easier to implement or test that particular solution in a different geography. Cool. The next type of implementation is the upgrade implementation. What SAP does is like frequently they do an upgrade of the software. This falls under that category. So whenever there's an upgrade, we need to make sure none of the functionalities are breaking. At least the core functionalities do not break. That's the scope of the work. In any SAP project, right, there will be a performance testing team. So whenever they do an upgrade of the particular software, we have to do a detailed regression performance testing to make sure the upgrade do not impact the performance of any of the features that's critical for business. So that's the upgrade project. And in few cases what they do is it's not always the version upgrade, right? There might be driver update or some patches, or in some cases they move from the on-prem environment to cloud environment. So there are different levels or different types of upgrade project that you can come across. So in all those cases, so you need to run the whole suite of performance test scenarios and make sure this upgrade is not impacting your core features of functionality that are critical for business. So that's about the upgrade project. Then we have the maintenance or support project. So here what exactly happens is if there is a change request, they want to slightly tweak our existing functionality or make changes to a functionality or apply some fix to a functionality. In such cases, you will falls under the maintenance or support project. So as a performance tester, you will not, the scope of the work is not too big because it impacts a particular functionality alone, or sometimes if the team wants us to do a full regression, in such cases we do full regression as well. So in terms of scope, it's minimal. The last two projects are kind of routine projects. So once the greenfield or the brownfield or the market implementation, the rollout implementation is done, right? So that most of the teams would be doing only these maintenance or support project activities or the upgrade version. So that's going to be their routine performance testing activities. So with that, we have come to the end of this session. So these are the 5 different types of SAP implementation, and the key takeaway would be you don't need to know all the details. Just try to understand, if you are into a project, try to speak with the project stakeholders and understand, under what category you fit in. Accordingly, you can start working on your planning, preparation, all those stuff. Thank you.